Yeah, hello everybody. This is Ohal, and we are speaking today with Gene Kreyd, an American abstract artist from California. Gene, as a matter of introduction, can you tell us where are you now and what are you currently doing?
I'm in my house in Bali, and by the way, hello everybody. Sending you guys lots of good vibrations from where I am, and that is the island of Bali. And there is a lot of good vibrations. I just finished surfing and watching a beautiful sunset at a friend's house who lives right on the beach, and I'm at my place. And this is my living room. It's open air, and I'm enjoying the tropical breeze. So hello.
hmm So, what should our audience know about your personal history to more fully appreciate your art?
Well, I'm multicultural, multilingual, and my life has been one that's been blessed with a lot of experiences. Um, so that's what goes into my art. That's what goes into my painting, and uh, hold on, there's a phone call that I got to decline.
Okay.
Uh, Pause. There we go. I think we're back on track. Excuse me. So I was saying that my background is I was born in Russia, and we left when I was young, when I was 9 years old with my parents, and we spent some time in Europe. Then we came to the States, and in the States I discovered surfing, and that's what brought me to Indonesia. But
hmm
I constantly travel and spent time in South America and many other places. Been all around Asia and Europe, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and which of these three subcultures, let's them call so, do you think formed you most? Like, which of these three influenced you most?
Um, that's hard to say, but I do feel very creative uh, wherever I go. I'm most productive here in Bali, but basically wherever I travel, I do art.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And when did your journey as an artist started? Is there any particular point?
Yeah, I think from very early childhood. Uh, my parents recognized that I have an inclination towards art, and they got me involved in the art club for children at the Hermitage Museum, and I really loved that. I don't remember very much, but I did win some sort of a prize, and my picture, my photograph with my painting was in the local newspaper, published in the local newspaper. So I studied, but I've never completely devoted myself to the study. I was always experimenting and just doing my own thing. But I would pick up things from other artists and classes and just my environment and surroundings. And also, I'd like to add that my parents would take me to museums and galleries, and their close group of friends were some of the nonconformist artists in St. Petersburg at the time.
Mm-hmm. And can you remember any particular painting or stature or some state of art that you liked?
Oh, I love I believe the painter is Ryapin,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not making a mistake, and he had really colorful paintings of Russian knights.
Mm-hmm.
So that was attractive, but I would be taken frequently to the Russian Museum and the Hermitage Museum and other places, and So I was just saturated with classical art.
Mm-hmm. And who do you consider the most influential person on your art? Or maybe there are several people who made you what you are now.
Many influences, but I can't really point to one. Um, Perhaps, and this is kind of an interesting story. There was a friend of my, pretty close friend of my parents, Vasily Gavrilchik,
Mm-hmm.
and I even have his a portrait that he did of me, and another picture of another sketch of me and my mom when I was a child. And I think I picked up something from him, just just naturally, just by being around my parents and him when they would get together. And probably a year or two ago, around the time when he passed away, I started painting late in the evening. And all of a sudden, I just out of the blue, I wasn't doing any figurative painting, and out of the blue, I just started painting a sailor.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in the Navy, I believe, and at one point he worked with my father on a boat.
Mm-hmm. And talking about motives of your paintings, have you always been interested in the sea, in waves?
No, I did many different things throughout my life. The paintings of the sea started, I would say, about 12 years ago. That would not be counting doodling, sketching while I was bored at class in school or college, painting waves then. But there is an interesting thing. When I was quite young, I painted a picture in charcoal, and I believe it was an assignment in some art class in school. And the picture was myself sitting with my back against a big tree, and behind me was a spiral, which really reminds me of a form of a wave. And the spiral was, it could be interpreted as the cosmos, as the Milky Way, or something like that. And so that was probably my first wave painting before I even knew what surfing was or heard about it.
Mm-hmm. And if we talk about your school years, what was it like? Did you enjoy your classes or were you bored by them?
I was always, not always, but for the most part, bored. And I remember quitting, quitting a few because I just, well, yeah, I wasn't getting much out of it. Sure, there was technique, but I felt really limited to express my creativity being in the class.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think in general about this artistic formation? Are there any things that we should maybe add into this form of education, or it is enough for artists?
Well, everything, technique is wonderful, and it's to hone the skills, to master, in Russian, навыки, по-моему, to
Yeah.
to uh, to perfect your skills is wonderful. It's important. But I think the instructors have to be talented to inspire their students, uh, and uh, and recognize what their strengths are, and what, bring out of them something that's going to become power, powerful and beautiful, and yeah, get them to express that, and
Mm-hmm.
that'll make it a lot more interesting and fruitful.
Mm-hmm. And do you work now exclusively as a painter, or do you have any other projects?
No, I've been doing this for quite a long time, but pretty much since oh God, when since 24, I've been doing creative work,
Mm-hmm.
and it was an expression of my creativity. I've done clothing, I've done video, photography, but I've always painted throughout.
And can you tell us a bit more about all these activities of yours?
Well, I always followed my heart and followed my dreams. So there was a period of my life where I got involved in clothing. I had no background, no education, and no real finances. But I saw the opportunity in Bali and in Brazil and started very small. And I was doing designs and finding interesting things and getting them made. And first, my friends started buying them, and little by little, that expanded. In Bali, I discovered batik, which is an amazing art form in itself. So I would make designs and have the clothing batik with those designs. The next dream was to create a movie, and that took place in '97. And the movie was about my experiences being here in Bali. It was a very dynamic year, and I filmed, made 20 mistakes to one successful shot, then edited the film and started with that, and that was the next phase.
So recently you've been to Japan, and why Japan? Why did you choose exactly this country? What did you take there?
I went to Japan because I got invited to do an art exhibition in Kyoto. And I thought that was wonderful. I always wanted to see Japan. I admire the culture and the Zen philosophy, the architecture. So that worked out perfect. And I got really lucky because I was there during the time of Sakura, which is the cherry blossoms. So that was wonderful.
It must have been fascinating. Okay. What about your other exhibitions? I know that you've had some in Russia. Can you tell us a bit more about them?
I had a few in Russia. The first ones were in Moscow. There were two of them, and the first one was at Krysha Mira nightclub and Shanti. And it was called, both of the exhibitions were called Electric Buddha. And we did light boxes. That was, now I switched to Russian. So у меня разные жанры.
It's a different genres.
Yeah, different languages come out at different times. I also speak Indonesian and Portuguese, so some things are easier to express. But I guess different directions in my creativity, in my art, my paintings. And this particular time, I believe it was around 2008. I was really into the Buddha image. I had a whole interesting experience related to that, and I was mixing Buddha images with cityscapes and electrical lines and conduits, and so I was looking for peace in the middle of the hurricane, and yeah, also beautiful girls and jungle flowers, etc. So we did light boxes for those two. Following that, I had a couple due to the release of the movie On the Wave. And there was a big premiere in October, movie theater, October.
Yeah.
And 35 millimeters. So I showed a lot of paintings at both of those. And the last one was at Erarta. And for me, they were all awesome, but for me, that was the most gratifying because not only did I come back to my home country, but I came back to my home city, St. Petersburg. So I was really touched. I was very well received, and yeah, just super grateful for the experience.
Okay, so you've been to Brazil, to Russia, to the USA, some Asian countries. What's your next stop?
The moon. I'm not sure. I feel like I've traveled enough. I'm still fascinated as I was as a child, but I feel like I've got enough traveling. So now it'll be coinciding with my art. Could,
Mm-hmm.
could be Russia. I hope so.
Uh-huh. So you're always welcome.
Oh, спасибо.
All right. Talking about the picture that you have behind, you said
Hmm.
it is also yours. Can you tell us a bit about it?
Well, this one is based off a photograph. Give you a better look. It's about it's probably a meter 80 by meter 20, around that. And I was on a very remote, secluded island between Sumatra and Java.
Mm-hmm.
And when the waves get the biggest in Indonesia, I go there with my friends. It's very dangerous. And on this particular trip, we heard of this monster swell. A swell, for those that don't know, is a period of strong waves, of big waves. So this one was meant to happen for 4 days. And I flew to Jakarta, jumped into my friend's car. We drove all night. We got on the boat. Another friend already met us there, and he brought a jet ski. So we were surfing and living on the boat. And this particular wave, I was photographing off the back of my friend's jet ski.
Mm-hmm.
And this wave was, I don't know how many meters, but you could probably put 4 or 5 people on top of each other as
Mm-hmm.
far as the height. And it was so beautiful that my friend was just looking at it. And I was behind the camera trying to get the perfect photograph. And we almost got taken by the wave. I had to tell him to drive the last second, and we barely got over the wave. So when I got home, I saw that I had a successful photograph, and I created
Mm-hmm.
the painting.
Oh, this is wonderful. Fine. If we talk about the technique that you use, you said you are an explorer in your real life, and what about the methods that you use? Do you like to experiment, or you have some known way of painting and you use it?
I'm constantly experimenting with new techniques. I discovered one where I would do a lot of computer work with my photographs using different programs. And then I would paint them, and sometimes I would rephotograph them again. So it was like, felt like I was cooking in my own kitchen in my studio. My recept,
Mhm.
my recipes. But many techniques, recently I've been working with enamel paints because I like some of the effects. In fact, I brought some of those paintings to Japan. The subject matter is also quite varied. I've been painting a lot of people figures recently. Um, but the main point with my art is to be a conduit, to convey the beauty of all these experiences that I seek and that I find, and the energy of that, and just the good energy that I try to tune into. I put that into the paintings, and thank God I get a confirmation from the viewers, such as Japan, where uh, some people were in the middle of the gallery and they're just telling me, wow, I feel the energy coming off the walls from these paintings. I needed that. And so, yes, I hope to pass that on through my art and uplift people, make people feel happy and healthy and strong and positive, bring something bright and colorful into their lives.
Mhm. So, talking about your audience, who are that people? Who are these people? What should they think, know, or maybe experience?
Are you asking me who my audience is, or what I want to, or am I aiming at a certain group? What
Yeah,
is the
let's
question?
discuss both. Firstly, who are you aiming at? Yeah.
You know, I'm aiming at anybody that's open to receive what I just described. You know, if you want to be healthy or inspired or uplifted or happy or just awakened to the goodness that is in all of us, well, that's you. You're my audience.
And if we take your actual audience, the people who love your words, who are they
Well,
usually?
well, I have everything from I have no, I have everybody from um, very simple Indonesian people on the island of Lombok, as an example,
Mm-hmm.
uh, who and to an oligarch, everybody in between. So uh, it's about, you know, it's about, for me it's about just getting the art to the people that like it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
that's the main point, and how it gets there or price, none of that matters. The main point is you like it, fantastic. I did something good in this life by illustrating and passing it on.
Okay, and do you have any exhibitions or trips planned for, I don't know, the next year?
Um, at the moment, I've just arrived, so I'm in the process of planning, and you guys will be the first to know.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Mm-hmm. Okay, so have you got anything else to share with our audience, with people who watch us?
Yes. I conclude my artist statement with a few words about my mission as an artist. I think I said I conveyed the idea, but the words that I used is um, you know, my mission is to inspire and awaken, you know, and also to share the beauty of my experience through my art. And yeah, my hope is that the people that see it will be inspired and energized and feel healthy and happy and wealthy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Gene, thank you very much for the talk, the interview.
Thank you. Thank you very much.